Welcome back to the Sardine News.
Yeah, welcome back, Sardine News. Beautiful, beautiful June day again. June 18th, just marvelous, wonderful stuff. Not too much sardine action going on. I heard a rumor that there was a net in Tweenie going just now. But in the meantime, since there's been so much sardine action the last few days, I'm kind of relieved that there isn't too much news coming in. But I've been getting lots of comments, lots of questions, and I got a question from Beth Neale. We all know who she is. And I couldn't answer it. So I figured, no ways, I'm going to ask Kevin to answer it. So, Kevin, off you go. Thanks, mate.
All the fish and more.
Yeah, that's open to debate. The problem with spawning is that they spawn in cold water. That's why the major shoal moves up the west coast. That's where they, come off the Agulhas Bank. They move up the west coast to Angola and southern Angola and northern Namibia. That's where they're spawning, and then they're moving back to the Agulhas Bank. And the East Coast sardine run is an anomaly, and nobody knows yet if they actually do spawn, because that is what the migration is all about. But Ushaka Marine World had a study going on where they were trying to figure out if these sardines are just like going to their death and becoming part of the food chain because of the mistake of coming up the East Coast. And there's no results yet as to whether they are actually spawning, or whether that a large portion of that shoal, once they reach warm water, goes out to the deep and moves back to the Agulhas Bank. They don't even know that yet. So yeah, that's like a question that everybody would love to know, because that means that the sardine run actually serves a purpose for the biomass of the sardines. But there's no definitive answer to that, and that's something that, if you could come up with the answer to that scientifically, you'd be a millionaire overnight, bud. I wish I could figure that shit out.
Fish and more.
Another thing to bear in mind with the sardine run is that Antarctica, ice cold water down south, is very nutrient-rich water. That's why the humpbacks kind of hang out there in the summertime. And that nutrient-rich water, full of phytoplankton, in wintertime you get a cold upwelling that moves up north, and it moves over the Agulhas Bank, and that's what triggers the sardine run. Very high in nutrients, lots of phytoplankton, and that's what they're following off the Agulhas Bank up the west coast of Africa, and they're feeding on that the whole way and spawning, and then moving back to the Agulhas Bank in the summertime. So with the cold upwellings that happen and kind of splits down at the Cape, these sardines that make the wrong turn, the water that's coming up the east coast is also very rich in nutrients, the same nutrients. And by the time they get to the warmer water in KZN, it's too warm for this phytoplankton. So that's also part of the question, because they're going to run out of food pretty soon. And we don't know even if those sardines make it back to the Agulhas Bank, or if they just become part of the food chain. So it's a very intricate, complex situation that's happening, and would love some answers. Cheers.